welcome back to the channel. So 5 years ago and 1 month, I made a video asking myself and you guys if Kenetrek boots are worth it. Because I had a pair of Danner boots. My parents, or my dad, bought them for me. Went to Shields in Lincoln, Nebraska. And this guy was talking about, he kept saying, oh, Danners, you got to get your Danners, and it became like a joke because one of my best friends, Charlie, was with me and we were going catfishing. And the whole time we were catfishing, we'd look over at each other in the dark when we get a fish and yell, we got your Danners, you got your Danners. Well, those Danner boots did last me a long time. They lasted me from when I was about 12 years old all the way up until I was 27 years old. I had some duct tape on them, but they're still working. They're out of commission now, but the top line of boots that I know of for lace-up boots, if you're, you don't need to be a hunter or an angler. You can just be someone that likes to hike. And but this is kind of in the hunting community, okay, but you don't need to be a hunter. So this one here, you can see I'm putting some mink oil on it, okay? Now this is classic stuff. This is redhead mink oil. And the laces came apart on these boots. So I can tell you it's been 5 years and 1 month and I've used these boots a lot. I've taken 2 bull elk. One was DIY, Northwest Montana. That was a hard hunt. And during that hunt, I went to a separate location with some friends. Well, one friend and a third friend helped us pack out a muley. I got up on a mountain. We had to go 2,500 feet up. We actually went almost 3,000 feet up and then came back down, and I got the muley on the way down. Did a little army crawl right at sundown, and my hands were frozen and I made a perfect shot right through the neck. And that mule deer was absolutely delicious and it was a monster. But I have not only hunted and hiked and summited mountains, Mount Jaquita in Colorado, 13,000 feet, 13,400 feet, somewhere around there, with these boots. But I've done, I want to say, 6 backpacking trips with these boots. And I've summited Cloud Peak, which is actually a pretty tough summit, especially if you don't know your way up there. You got to hop on some big boulders. Anyway, these boots, this one's all oiled up, okay, but the laces were coming apart. But look at this. There's a little bit of spray foam on here. I actually work with these boots too, and it's been over 5 years. And these boots, Kenetrek boots. Now these are Kenetreks, top of the line. They still feel like I'm breaking them in. And some guys say the last, 3 years or 3 seasons or whatever. I don't know, maybe people don't take care of their boots, but I suggest, we've had a lot of rain, so the boots are nice and clean, but they are dry. This leather is dry. But none of this rubber's peeling back. And I gotta say that these boots are absolutely amazing, and they give you incredible support, and they protect your feet from rocks, but they're not too heavy. They'll feel more heavy than common boots you use for backpacking, but there's, in my opinion, they're super light, okay, and they really protect your toes, your ankle. You don't want to turn an ankle out in the wilderness. protect your feet. I just put in whatever inserts, I like in these boots. And they're actually, I'll put 2 inserts in for the summer. So then I wear 1 pair of socks. And then in the winter or fall, I don't use these in the deep snow too often, but I'll just take 1 set of inserts out and then I can wear thicker socks. But I gotta say, it's been 5 years and these boots have been excellent. Now the laces that they came with were a little long, they're kind of always dangling around, so they're about 70-inch laces. So I went ahead and bought, and this is something important. I'll make a separate video on this, but scroll down through my videos and you'll see that video I made when I was 27. I'm 32 right now. And I was talking about, if these are worth the money. These are not cheap. But you know what? I know it's hard for people, right now while I'm making this video. And if times are hard for you, I hear you. It's not great for me financially. But I gotta say, when you buy something nice and it lasts and it doesn't let you down, it protects you, you're protecting your body and your back and your feet and your ankles and everything. And they're not paying, like Kenetrek is not paying me to make this video, but I'm just giving you an honest review. It's been 5 years and I'm replacing the laces on these, so I suggest that if you want top of the line boots, get some high top boots like this. Support your ankle, protect your foot, and then adjust it with inserts. I like to go half a size up if I can. Give yourself some room to work with, and then your toes aren't going to hit the end of the boot if you're going down a mountain a few thousand feet. If you're doing a summit, or you're packing out a elk or a mule deer or a sheep or a goat or something like that hunting. But man, these Kenetrek boots, they have not let me down. There's a little bit of tape here to hold the laces together because I just got busy. I didn't have time to replace the laces. So tonight I'm putting mink oil on them and they look like they're brand new with the mink oil. And one last thing I'm going to say. These laces are thin, okay? So they may not stay tied as easily as like thick laces, but thick laces, people don't think about this, they soak up a lot of water. So I like thin laces, or I like to take laces and I buy a bulk Scotchgard is a brand, but basically a water repellent, and I'll soak laces in that water repellent, and it does make them a little bit more stiff. I'm not going to do that with these laces because these boots are more for like the fall, or for working. But in the winter time, I try to get laces that do not soak up snow or water from melting snow or ice up on me. So when you pick out laces, I recommend going lightweight, and getting thin laces. So the brand, these are also Redhead. Okay, so these are 63-inch laces, Redhead laces. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on, and I'll probably pause the video here, and I think I'm going to do a separate video on just talking about boot laces. I don't know if I'll do that tonight, but that's a video that people need to talk about because when I'm out hunting cats, by myself, no dogs in the snow, tracking a mountain lion up a mountain, I'm telling you, every ounce counts. So, you don't want to be bogged down by your feet getting all wet, and you do not want your feet wet. Okay, I like wool, things like that. Merino wool is excellent. But anyway, I'm gonna pause the video and I'll show you what they look like when they're all laced up, okay? But be sure and subscribe. I'm getting a lot more subscribers on this channel. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I don't know what I'm going to do with the channel, but I think this is helping people out, and it's going to show you what are good products out there, because I am sick and tired of trashy products and headlights and things like that that are great when you first start using them, or boots, and then a few months later they just fall apart or the headlight just quits working. You know, I'm big on investing in things. Like, you buy a vehicle, a car. You don't want to buy a car, you know, and like buy a $5,000 car and then have to put $20,000 or $30,000 into it to get it running, unless you do that yourself as a hobby. You don't want to pay someone to do that. And it's that way with anything, you know, and these boots are a great example. So, I mean, look at this. There's some dirt on there, but they're still breaking in. So, you know, it's just crazy the way they build these things. I mean, that rubber edging there, not peeling at all. And these have been up and down a lot of mountains, 13 to 14,000 feet. So anyway, yeah, Kenetrek boots, are they worth it? They sure are. Just look at this. Look at how those laces came apart. But the boots, this one still needs some mink oil, but I mean, it's holding up great. Even the back here, like that's how they came. They came like that. This is not damage, okay? There's one thread. This is all I can find. If I cut that off and take a lighter, you know, and melt that. But I've used these. I work with these. I don't always wear these when I work, but I have done a lot of carpentry and built an entire building, porch out of big timbers, rough wood, you know, all that stuff. I mean, look at the laces. They're just coming apart like crazy. So maybe the laces that Kenetrek puts on there won't last you 5 years, but let me tell you, these boots will. So I'm just going to stop the video here, and I'll do a video on the different types of laces you can put on your boots. I do have another set of work boots, and they're Danners, but Danners are great boots, but they're just not made quite as well as they were, you know, 15 years ago or 10 years ago. So anyway, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Kenetrek boots, are they worth the money? They are, in my opinion. I mean, these have held up for a long time, doing a lot of crazy stuff on a lot of rocks and a lot of uneven terrain. And, you know, I'll say it again, you do not want to roll your ankle or damage your foot. When you buy these, if you buy these, you got to break these in for, I don't know about time, but you got to put at least a few thousand miles on these before you take them on an actual backpacking trip or hunting trip or an expedition, because they're built so well that it takes that long to just start to break them in, so they can just begin to break in and fit to form your foot and your ankle and your leg and everything. So anyway, yeah, Kenetrek boots. I mean, I've used these doing everything you can think of. And they are waterproof, so your feet do not get wet. They breathe. This is kind of like this is where they breathe right here. And you wax that, just like, it's like a canvas, like a waxed canvas. So it breathes, but it also repels water. So yeah, these are amazing boots. Anyway, I'll try to put a link where you can find these, but I'm not being paid to make this video. I'm just giving you an honest 5-year update review, and they're like new. You know, this is what we want in America right now, in my opinion. Like, the item doesn't need to be made in America, although that's a great thing if it is, but wherever you're buying a product from, you want the best of the best, because you don't want to be buying it again. It's gonna help you a lot financially. And times are hard right now, okay? So I feel you guys out there if you're struggling, but you know, when you get back on your feet, no pun intended, but I mean that seriously, invest in things that are built to last. That's why I make videos on Yamaha, brands like that. You know, don't buy, I mean, I love shopping on Amazon, but there's so many products that just break on you after they might break. Like, I have headlights that are amazing. You can dial them in like a spotlight, you know, and they're great for security, getting out of the woods in the dark, packing out an elk, whatever, or a deer. You know, getting all that meat packed out. And you know, it's really important that whatever gear you have, it's not going to break and it's not going to fail you. So thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button. Sorry, it's kind of late at night, so I'm flubbing up my words a little bit, but anyway, Kenetrek boots, really good stuff.